Now this one is going to be for the ladies. For the first time in a long time, we have the Florida State Women's and Girls Championship. This is an all-girls tournament, and I've been promoting this tournament, and I want to have my students feel more confident going into this. So I'm going to make some short and sweet crash course videos just as refreshers. Now, we're going to hit some key areas. In the first video, the one that you're currently watching, we have the introduction, and we're going to have some basic opening principles and things to focus on when starting the game and things to watch out for. In our second video, we're going to look at checkmates and different things that you can use to practice it. In our third video, we're going to take a look at some basic tournament rules so you know exactly what to expect. And in our bonus fourth video, just for fun, I had an interview with multiple-time, I believe 7-time U.S. Women's Champion, Grandmaster Irina Krush, and she answered a number of my questions that I find a lot of her answers would be motivating to our female players. So without further ado, let's jump right in. And this is going to be the style/color of the specialized boards that we had made for the tournament. I'm very, very excited about it. So let's go ahead and talk about the basics here. Number one, I have more complex videos on this that I'll have down in the links if you want to really investigate, but this is just the short and sweet. You need to focus on these 4 center squares in the beginning of the game. Because remember, we have 3 opening principles. I want to maintain a pawn in the center, get one, keep it there. I want to castle my king to get safe, and I want my knights and bishops working effectively. So when I say effectively, that means either attacking the center or attacking opponent's pieces that are attacking the center. So we're going to go with a very, very basic scheme of development here just to get you through the opening into a playable position. Because the worst thing that can happen to you is you lose quickly. If we're making a lot of pawn moves, we'll lose quickly. That's unnecessary. So if I make a move like this, we ask the question, did it affect the center? No. Well, why are we making this move? Because black, they're going to make a move and put a pawn in the middle. So then if we're making more pawn moves, we can very, very quickly lose the game from our king being open. And this is checkmate. And remember our rules with checkmate. Can we take the piece? Nope. Can we block with one of our friendly pieces? Nope. Can we move our king? Nope. When all 3 of those happen, it is checkmate and the game is over. So, in this case, what went wrong for white? Well, he opened up his king early, and also we're not mining the weakest square in the camp. It's the weakest square because only the king defends it. So let's try this again, and we're going to do this what I like to call building a house. We're not worrying about specific openings, we're just trying to get to a playable position. So notice the difference between putting the pawn here and here. On this square, we're building a nice little house where the pawn protects each other. So then, once we built the house, we're going to live in it. And notice how I said we need to fight through the center. Our bishop's attacking through there. Well, already this should be a red flag. This bishop is coming out, and it's attacking our pawn. Now, a lot of my students want to bring this knight out right here. And this is normally a good move because it hits the center. But the problem is, I'm going to be able to push this pawn, hitting the knight, and the knight, to be safe, is going to have to waste time. Now, we don't want this to happen. So a move that we could play to stop our knight from being kicked, I'm just going to push this pawn up 1. Now, on the next move, I'm going to bring my knight out, and our knight's not getting kicked around. So we need to be careful here because see how the bishop and the queen are eyeing the square? If it was black's move, queen takes f2 would happen and we would be in big trouble. But what we can do to defend it is simply bring the knight out. Now we're completely safe. Say black continues to try to harass us. Well, remember castling. 1, 2, put the rook over. And already, we're halfway done with our opening principles. We have half of our knights and bishops developed, and our king is safe. So let's get a pawn in the center and to finish development with our knights and bishops. So black gets his knight out. In this case, we have a free pawn here. Let's go ahead and take it. Now, let's get our pawn in the middle. He brings his pawn out, hitting our knight. We don't want our knight to be free, so the best type of move when we're retreating, we see if we can't make other threats. So when I bring the knight here, I'm hitting the queen. Queen needs to move. I bring my other knight out, and we can quickly finish development. A pawn up out of the opening with both of our knights and bishops developed. A pawn in the center, and our king castled. And this is just simply building a house. The building the house method is the easiest way I know to teach students how to do it. You can do it on the queen side of the board or the king side of the board, where we build a house and simply live in it. And what we want to watch out for is anytime they're attacking the square, I got to stop that. So this time I can put the pawn there. And this opening line can be played with either white or black. And this one is called the hippo because it is a defensive structure, and that is the image you want to have in your mind to be able to play this. You make the double house called a fianchetto, and that's it. So hopefully this has shown you what to watch out for in the beginning of the game. F2 and F7, because only the king defends it. If we protect those squares early, you will have a good game. Now, let's flip it around and make sure we understand it from black's perspective. So say white throws this move at us. So we can start with our double house. When the queen comes out here, remember, we want to watch out for this. Let's just simply protect it, because now the bishop's biting there. If the queen was to take, we can take back now. So then we're ready to double house. You got to be careful, because if this pawn moves, notice how the queen's attacking the rook. We need to ask ourselves each time our opponent moves, what did the last move do? It's attacking our rook. Would the bishop help? No, the queen could take. So let's move another piece. Now our bishop's moved out. We've moved our knight out. And after castling, we've used our knights and bishops. We've castled. Now all we need to do is put a pawn in the center. So now, boom, we put our pawn in the center, and we've got good play. These are the absolute bare minimum basics in the opening. So I know it was pretty quick, but this is going to be our quick starter series for playing in the Florida State Women's Championship. And that'll end it for video 1.